Good morning.
Here we are. So, I have the pleasure to be with so many people today. I feel like it's like a friends reunion. So we have RD from Artifex project. We have Malavida, Toomuchlag, Aeforia, and Xsullo. Hi guys, thanks so much for being here.
Yeah,
Well,
it's a
pleasure.
Yeah,
Thanks
for
to
having
be
us.
here. Thanks for having us. Yeah.
Super. So I think what I'll do is I'll pass it on to Roger. I think everybody wants to know the big question, what is Artifex? What's the deal with this new project that's been bouncing around in the NFT space? So over to you, Roger.
All right. Thank you for the intro. So digital art is the future. When we hit New York, we led a video with that phrase. We led it with digital art is the future. Blockchain enables a renaissance. NFTs are the canvas, right? So my time in this space, who I have gravitated to and what I believe that I have learned is artists are really at the center of it all. And so it was about creating an artist first project and flipping the script. When we went to New York, it was the art first with clear, bold artist credits, right? Not the other way around, not the brand and then either no credit or a tiny byline. And so it was this mission of ours. So I think getting into more of the details though, what is the Artifex project? It was to represent this space well. With all the noise coming into it, it was how do we create a signal? How do we represent the substance? Because let's be honest, everyone wants in, right? Everyone wants in. And I'm looking around in this space that's so near and dear to me and I'm thinking, how do we ensure that history is marked? And that's how we're stepping this forward. And so every artist in the project was asked a question. How would you put yourself in a piece of art? How would you represent yourself? Total creative freedom. How would you represent yourself? And then the art director of the project, which is Dirk Vandermeer, that's Dirk at work. He's a super rare artist, does fabulous work. He actually then takes the character, the representation of artists, and makes a 3D version, a 3D virtual sculpture. So think of it like back in the day, the painting, and then there was a sculpture bust. And now we're in the digital, like across the metaverses, and now we can do the same thing. And the goal there, and then I'll stop talking, the goal there is to enable those 3D virtual sculptures to live on, to be able to go to the metaverses of today, and most importantly, arguably, to go to the metaverses of tomorrow. So wherever this space goes, to have the roadmap where an Aeforia 3D sculpture can live on and be timeless.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Cheers.
Go ahead, guys. No, I'd love to hear from all of you. Like, start maybe with Malavida. Like, how I guess, like, first of all, like a quick intro. How you got into the space, and also how you approached this project as well. Like, what was your first feeling when Roger was like, I'm doing this? What do you think? What was your first impression?
Well, first of all, every time Roger reaches out to me, I'm just always like super happy because he's like Roger. So it's like one of the purest soul out there right now. So every time he reaches out for something, I'm just like, oh my God, it's Roger. And I'm just like always happy. And I knew that like when he exposed the project, it was going to be something amazing. But like going a bit backwards, I entered the space in like, I believe December, January 2021. And yeah, just like I feel like it has been, I wanted to join before, but like everything was super, not gatekeepy, but like there wasn't as many options as right now. And I took some time to just observe things from afar and just connect with people before that, and just try to integrate this community beforehand and before just basically selling anything. So I feel like I learned a lot from doing that and just like assimilating as much as information from others as I could. And when it was like the time for me to start working on projects and minting artworks, etc., it was a lot of confusion and a lot of anxiety and a lot of excitement all at once. It's the same for everyone, of course, but I feel like I just wanted to stay true to myself and what I do, which is obviously, I guess, different from, I don't know, what people are expecting to see as an NFT, because like a lot of it is like 3D artworks and or illustrations, etc., which is amazing. I do abstract art, which is, I guess, different. It's seen as background material most of the time for people. So I just feel like it's really like the whole concept of NFTs is really enabling me to just show who I am and what I do and my aims through my work, and just convey those concepts and values to collectors and others. And that's what I wanted to do for the Artifex projects as well, because I feel like the idea of summing yourself up into a single piece is really difficult for everyone. At least it is for me, and because like everyone's like changing point of views on their work every so often. Like you like a piece one day and then you do not like it the other, etc. So just like having this challenge was like really interesting, but more like, aside from the challenge part, it was obviously the fact that I wanted to be part of something bigger with all of my peers and having this momentum that I feel like was needed. And yeah, I'm just really happy to be included in that. It was like super stressful, not gonna lie, because as I told Roger, I was like, are you sure I'm going to be able to do that? Because I don't know. I am not like I do not do figurative stuff. So just like representing myself into an artwork is really difficult for me. But yeah, I did that. So thank you, Roger, for having me, and everyone.
Love that. I think like probably the word and the theme that comes out the most is community, which I think is like the biggest real theme about this ecosystem as a whole. I love that the fact that you said that you kind of looked into before, like, you know, jumping into the NFT space and like trying to connect with people, which I think is essentially, you know, what most of us really do, right? Like I probably one of the biggest things is that people have found like friends with this, like they've actually connected and built, you know, bonds. Like some people actually, you know, live in the same place now. Like that's pretty cool. So yeah, that's super. I love that. So what about you guys? Like, how did you find it? I'll jump to Aeforia. How was it for you to basically showcase yourself in art?
Well, do you want me to go back to maybe like the early days, or maybe
Sure.
just focus on well, like how I got started with this was through Gavin Shapiro, the Flamingo guy. We did a collab last summer, and he out of nowhere he kind of went to me and was like, yeah, well, that's his trademark. He came to me and he's like, yo, you gotta try this thing. I'm gonna release this piece on Super Rare. This is what it's called, and I have the drop coming up on Nifty Gateway. You should apply to these platforms. It's very interesting what's going on right now. And I'm like, what the heck is this, you know? And kind of like many other decisions that I've made in my life, I just jumped into it. You know, I didn't really give it too much thought. I just said, why not, you know? So I applied to both platforms, and I was lucky to be applying like in September when it was relatively calm compared to like the past few months. And I had a chance to be accepted. So I posted my first piece on Super Rare. That was my very first introduction. Got an offer the first day, and I was blown away. This was like such a stressful experience. Receiving a first bid and being like, what do I do now? Is that person gonna remove it or something? So yeah, that was a cool experience. And right now, a few months later, it feels like 3 years have gone by, really, because the space is moving so fast. And here we are, we're doing this crazy project. All of my friends here are with me, and even Roger brought us together to make this cool thing. So I'm really thankful for that. And to me, like how I approach my piece is that I kind of look back to what happened to me in the past few months, and like the moment that stood out the most for me was the the 5 Fears series that I feel like was a big step forward in my work and as an artist. So I kind of wanted to do a tribute to that and kind of keep it relatively similar to like in terms of style, but also in terms of subject matter. So it's a very like vulnerable character that's showcased, but we don't just see like the top, we see the whole body just floating in the space. And so I kind of see myself, like I kind of relate to this character because I've been open about myself more in the past few months than I have ever been. Sorry for my English here. And yeah, this is the direction I wanted to take with this piece. And honestly, I'm really happy with it. I had a lot of fun just creating the soundtrack as well. So yeah, I'm really glad to be a part of this, really. So much fun.
Super. I love, I remember when we had the interview of 5 Fears before your Nifty drop. So
that was great.
Yeah. Feels like ages. I keep saying this, but yeah, I feel like it's a very popular thought. Toomuchlag, Stefan, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you. Finally made it here.
Yeah. So, I mean, tell us a little bit about you and also, this project and what's going on.
I'm super excited about this project. I think mostly because of the people that are involved in it, but also because of the project itself. I think Roger has nailed it, and that like the values he's bringing with this project and his vision of this project and what can come in the future is really, really inspiring and motivating. It's like one of those projects where you're really proud to be part of and look forward to seeing what everyone's doing, where the project is going. It's not one of those projects where you just jump in because you see an opportunity and you sort of like sit on it and just peek. Oh, is it going this road, or this road? It's one of those projects where you actually feel part of it and you care about it. You wanna make it succeed. So I'm really, really happy to be part of it. And yeah, I approached it in like a super fun way. When Roger approached me with the idea, I was obviously thrilled and excited, just because Roger approached me. And then we started talking about it, and we started talking about this creating your character or something, a sort of like a representation of you through your work, which is something it's always a bit tricky, because when it's your work and then all of a sudden you have to put yourself in your work, it's like, do I want to do it? Do I want to be in my work? Like it's already, that's the first question. And then you sort of have to find out what you want to do with it. So I tried to have fun with it. I made a piece that felt very natural. So something that resonated with me and me as a kid, or like me being still a kid. And I had a lot of fun doing it. And yeah, really happy to be part of this.
Roger, it seems like everybody is saying that, they, as soon as you reached out to them, they were like, I'm in, jumping right in, right?
There's always something. It's awesome.
I'm going to flip it. This project, it's the honor and the privilege of a lifetime. I tell this story often. It's when I came into this space to connect the dots like nothing ever has before. Every single dot. It was art creation and appreciation as an adolescent, going into the business of a young professional business career, fitness and wellness for a long time. And that was community. It was thousands of people in community. It was that empathy. It was that person-to-person connection over and over and over again. And then coming into this space, everything came together. I felt like able to develop these relationships, and the word was used earlier, but friendships, like just friendships. Everyone from those who were on the ground in New York to those who I talked to that we can't wait to get someplace together, to be in real life and to extend, the friendships that have developed. And it's an honor just being able to look across at all of these different things and be here today, be here on your show with these fabulous people, and then walking into Aeforia. I think you used the words, this crazy project, right? This crazy thing to try to represent this substance of the digital art NFT space. It's a massive responsibility. It's one that I do not take lightly. I've had so many conversations of co-curation, right? Because at the end of the day, I am not a deity. I'm not the person who gets to decide, right, everything and anything. it's trying to approach this with respect, and it's trying to say, we want a historical time capsule here. How do we go about that? And then, of course, there's a constraint, right? It's acknowledging, yes, there's a constraint to the number of artists and the perception of that, and it's trying to do things also outside of that and make this about the community as a whole.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to give Nick your thoughts on, on the project, and also how you approached it, and
Yeah, like everyone else kind of saying here, is just you get excited when someone like Roger reaches out to you, because he's already been a big role in the community. So I see it as Roger as kind of like this curator that supports the artist's vision and respects that. And he's so creatively open-minded in being able to let the artist kind of speak their mind and to create these motifs that represent each of these artists. So he's really given these opportunities. So when he reached out, I got super excited and all for it. The creative vision, just being creatively open to do what you want and to kind of really reflect that in the artwork, I think is you can really kind of tell in this. So it's just one of those fun and exciting things to just kind of be a part of. So yeah, I'm just happy to be here.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I think, some of the, some of the things that are kind of like popping up here is, well, one, community, two, friendship, and also like trying to put yourself into your art. Like, I'm really curious, like, how do you, as an artist, like, how do you go about like going through that process and like figuring out, okay, like I'm not doing art as maybe I would normally do. Like, I feel like some artists represent themselves anyways for their art, but like actually figurative, like representing yourself is like a whole other process, right? So yeah, I'm curious, how did you all kind of like get that inspiration going and start that process, and open mic to anybody who wants to start.
Yeah, I mean, when Roger reached out, is this having this kind of motif and this symbology to kind of reflect that artwork. So my first thought, because you can see it sometimes in my art, is this whole skull and pill motif that I kind of have a reoccurring theme. You can see it in the Genesis piece on Super Rare. And for me, it's just that kind of represents that how life is kind of a hard pill to swallow. And we find ways to cope with life, whether it's through art. That's kind of what Xsullo is all about. And I would want to kind of represent that. So that's kind of my approach, this whole motif with the pill and skull approach of it on my end. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
cool. I feel like
I'm a big fan of Nick. I'm always reposting his stuff on Instagram. Anybody else?
I feel like for me, or for maybe for Alexi, for Aeforia, it might be a little bit easier than for others, because like we do characters more than others. Like all of my pieces have characters in it, so it's a bit easier to make a character. But then on the other hand, it could be a lot harder to be conceptual about it, so to try and say something about it, because if you go abstract, or if you go with some of your elements, then you're not constrained in the box of like it's a human being with arms and legs. So you sort of like already start with a different canvas, where you're like, I think Justin is a very good example of what I'm trying to say. So he has like this animal where it's not a human, but it conveys so much emotion and power and strength and the fur. He's got like his amazing hair and stuff. And his history as well in his work. Like, I feel he has so much to tell. Then on the other hand, it's a bit harder when you have a human with hands and feet, and then you're trying to be all emotional about it and trying to tell a story, because people will just focus on, oh, it's a human and it looks cool. That's it, So you have to sort of like push a little bit extra on what's around it, how you present it. And I think Aeforia does an amazing job at this, with like just the colors and like this space and breathability in his work, where you feel a lot, even if there's just one character there. I'm really curious to know what like Malavida went through to like when you have to. Yeah, I can imagine, because like how do I how do I bring this emotion in? So it's kind of interesting when you're not playing with a figure, how to do this.
Yeah, I mean, it's really difficult. When I started the artwork, I was like, I mean, I love a challenge. A girl love a challenge, but at the same time, it's really difficult for me, of course, because I have not the ability to do figurative things, or not the capacity, technically speaking, to just like do 3D or whatnot and like shape myself into something. What I can do though, and what I used to do for 9 years, is to create books and like printed objects, etc. And that's like one of my passion. And I also like created my thesis and wrote my thesis based on the human psyche and the analogy with the like books shaping, the way we shape books and the way we design books. This is really difficult to explain, so I'm not gonna go into that. But yeah, basically, I wrote a lot about the analogy between the object that is the book and the printed objects that designers do, and how it reflects ourselves as human, and the way we organize things, our thoughts, our our values, etc. And so one of the ideas I had in this thesis is that the book is like a reflection of the individual, because it's like an entity that is like divided in chapters and indexes, table of contents, etc. And you order those chapters, etc. But there also can be disorder, and the idea that I love the most is that they're like the opposition between like 2 pages of a book. Like when they faces each other, the content is like related. When you like switch the page, it's like another content. And there's like this duality in the book that I really appreciate, and that I feel like resonates with me as an individual. I am a Gemini, sorry. And yeah, I work a lot on duality in general. I feel like that's a theme I really, really enjoy working on. I feel like that's something that represents me a lot. And when I created the, card thing, I wanted to like the fact that there's like several steps in the process in the Artifex project, and there's like this 2D artwork, and there's like this 3D artwork. It's like so many possibilities that I wanted to take advantage of that and actually just only represent myself in 2D as one face of the card, and then on the 3D object having like that moment where there's a reveal on the back, because you can actually see the back of the card and there's like another face behind the card. So it's just like a layer of process that goes just into those steps, I feel. And so the full reveal is like, yeah, the full spectrum of who I am, because there's light, there's dark, and yeah, that's why it's called Twin Flame. It's me.
I love it. That's super cool. I think it's a really good way of like interpreting yourself. I mean, that's very creative. Love that. So back to Roger. So or anyone actually, like, have you guys seen each other's pieces, or is this all a reveal and a surprise? How does that work?
A little bit of both, right?
Okay.
I mean, I've seen some of it like behind the scenes. I think Bill Ellis seen like his work in progress, Malavida's, and then some of it was a surprise, which is always exciting. So it's a little bit of column A and column B, which is fun. And I think the way that Roger rolled it out, keeping it kind of hush-hush and secretive, it built that anticipation, that excitement, and then boom, New York City, screens everywhere. And I think people just kind of flipped over it. So the approach was really fun.
Yeah, it's fun to see because, we're this kind of first wave of artists called the family, but there are other waves, and we're not really aware of like who are in the other waves really. It's still a surprise. And so when I saw Thank You X piece or Jan Silva's piece in the New York photos, was like, oh damn, that's so cool, because I've seen Toomuchlag's bees beforehand. I've seen Nick, Alicia in the group chat, but not all of these other pieces that have been made for this project yet. So yeah, the full reveal was really insane. Like when Roger approached me, he sent me the trailer the day before. I was blown away seeing all of the artworks just flashing right in front of me. It was really special.
So good.
Yeah.
So Roger, you kept it secret within the artists as well, not only within the community. It was like a full-on like secret movement that you had there.
Sneaky.
It's been a balance. It's been a balance. It's been trying to be respectful and open and sharing the substance of it, the on one hand, a piece of the information, but then also, like trying to surprise and delight. And I think that goes for, every aspect when it comes to the community at large, the collector base and the artist base. Yeah, it's been this really interesting balance of, yes, sharing everything. What do you keep? What do you keep for later? How do you surprise? Tough. It's a day-to-day process. It's a day-to-day process.
Well done.
That's cool.
Yeah.
But I do have to say, sorry, real quick. One of the biggest moments in this entire project that's happening 100 times is these artists that I just think are downright special. Like these 4 individuals on the screen, just so special at what they do. The reveal, the first time when it's like, here's a download file, or what do you think of this possibility? That moment is like nothing else. It's an incredible, incredible moment. And it's something that I knew it would be special. It's just like New York. It's like, it's going to be special intellectually. And then it hits you right here. And you're like, wow, that's cool. Yeah. So I remember every moment, like every single time, wherever the heck I was. I remember, Stefan, you shared with me. I was in New York City when you shared. And I remember I was trying to download it in a hotel room with terrible internet. And there was like this file, and I said it's going to take me 3 hours, and I wasn't going to be able to stay up for it, to download. And you sent me a lower download version. I was able to see it. Just fun stories like that throughout this behind the scenes have really made the experience for me. So I appreciate every single person.
Preach.
Appreciate it.
We appreciate you, Roger.
Yeah.
And actually, my next question was exactly this: like, what was the feeling of you all, and you, Roger, as well, of like seeing, your name, your work, like in New York City, like in real life? We're all in this huge like metaverse. We're virtually all connected. But I guess, the experience of, in real life, like me, I'm in Europe, a lot of the community, well, I know Stefan is in Europe as well, but like, there's a lot of people that are like in the US. So, that actual connection and human feeling, I think, is like a bit of like the next step within the community as well. Like people are really wanting that, like it's like we've made friends, we've made this community now, let's meet, right? Like let's actually have like a face-to-face connection. So I'm wondering how did that feel for you, Roger, but also for you guys to see your things in real life?
So true. I think
that's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's weird.
I think Roger really kind of bridged that gap between the virtual and in real life. And like he was there, boots on the ground. So it must have been a very exciting, surreal experience to be able to witness it, but also like participate and experience it with the artists at hand. So being able to see that like virtually was just exciting, and just to feed off that energy that they were experiencing in New York, and being able to see that on like Twitter and on social media, it was contagious and it was really exciting. And you can already kind of see the friction that's starting there. So it feels kind of like a bit of an art movement that's starting here. And I think he's really representing each one of every artist in a great way. So it's pretty cool.
What's like, actually, I feel like for us, it's really weird to see that, but it's also really cool. But the people that are maybe touched the most, like with that, is like your family. The people that just, they support you, but they do not know what you're doing. They're just like, yeah, you're doing thing
of
on
what?
the internet, art stuff. Yes, great. And then you send them like the visuals of that in New York. Like everyone knows New York, everyone knows Times Square, everyone knows that. It's like the place. It's like you cannot escape that reality now. Is that like when you send that to your family, to your relatives, etc., they're just like they're blown away because it's like a materialization of everything you've done, and they're just like realizing that. And if they do that, and if they realize that, then that means that the whole world can realize that as well. And so that's really democratizing for the community, for the movement, for everyone, I guess.
Yeah, you can't look away
Agree.
from a 2-story foot screen of your artwork. It's there.
It's like
can't
3
look away.
times my size.
Yeah.
I guess.
When I saw
It
that,
is really
you know,
crazy.
when I saw that happening, I was supposed to work and crunch a lot of stuff on that night, but I just kept refreshing my Twitter feed to see like what
Me
was
too.
like happening, and I kind of like had this not emotional but kind of deeper moment where I was like, you know, like what is this life? Like how crazy it is that I'm friends with like all of these people all around the world. We've met through some random stuff, random chain of actions, and we ended up here having this project that's like bigger than us, and we're all involved together, and we're trying to like bring something that's been slept on for so many years forward and shine some light on it. I was like, gosh, that's so crazy. Like, why me? Why us? I don't know, but I was really thankful for that.
Yeah, totally. If you don't believe in karma or like butterfly effect, now it's your time to believe it, because like that's
Yes.
right in front of you, basically.
Yeah, super fortunate, super thankful. So
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's so crazy. Like for someone like me, I'm from Switzerland and from like a super small town, and everything through like last year leading up to this year, NFT started like in September last year. So it's been like such a almost like a vacuum where you like get sucked in, and then you're just working, and you never like raise your head to sort of see how far you like come from when you started. And in my case, it's even more like crazy because like I started the Toomuchlag project last year. So I literally started doing like social media, Instagram last year. So for me, it was all new. And then I got just like super sucked in all of this, and then NFTs, everything happened. And then Roger comes in with this insane project and just like, boom, New York, you know? And I remember I was on the phone and I started receiving messages from friends that I don't speak to on a daily basis, you know? And they were like, yo, what the fuck's going on? Like, is this you? And I was like, yeah. And then I thought about it, and I was cooking, and I sort of stopped for a moment, and I was like, this is fucking huge. Like, this is insane. Roger's a legend. Like, these people are crazy. What am I doing here? Like, I don't deserve this. Like, this is insane. And it's just sort of sunk in for a moment, and I was like, okay, I need to like take half an hour and just appreciate how crazy this is. And yeah, it was a moment, definitely a moment.
You stopped cooking there. You had a moment where you were like, okay, this is the time to stop cooking.
I hope you didn't burn your food.
He burned the pasta.
Pasta's gone.
For a good cause.
You know what's amazing? You know what's amazing about New York? Just like you were saying, everything's go, right? We're all going, everyone's doing their own thing. And even that day in New York, there was the too hot to handle art controversy in Times Square, right? Where it was till the 11th hour, negotiating with Times Square and the billboards and the landlords, and thinking everything could be pulled, and how are we gonna make this right and make it okay? And obviously talking to the guy, because my heart sank when it was like, really, this is really going to happen like this. And so going back to Alexi and Nick and having those conversations, obviously we had the projectors still and the truck still, and that was all locked in, but Times Square is Times Square, and that was a big thing. So anyway, all this stress is going on, and we're lining up, and we're there, and we position ourselves across diagonally from the biggest billboard, which is right above the McDonald's. And we're sitting there, and McDonald's is playing Quarter Pounders with Cheese or whatever they had flashing on the billboard. And then the screen went dark.
Oh.
And it was like,
Oh.
you know, we had Sergio, collector in the community, was out there. But Marissa and Flora, my wife and daughter, were out there. Matt Medved was out there. Just a bunch of brilliant. Brian Brinkman was out there. Gavin Shapiro came with his significant other. So we're all just standing there, milling around, and boom, screen goes dark, and time stopped. So just like cooking, right? You're cooking and you step back. It forces you to appreciate something. It felt like no matter what the stressors were, or the work was, or what thoughts were circulating in your head, all of that was out the window. And then the art came. And it was just this pure stretch of time, you know? Watched it probably for several loops before even moving on to anything else.
Yeah.
Special, like, just doesn't happen often.
Yeah.
Amazing.
It's so
I wish I'd
surreal.
seen it. I wish I'd seen it in real life. I wish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same.
Well, why don't
Yeah.
why don't we break a little bit of news? So New York
Yeah.
vertical right here.
Yeah. Let's tell
Spill the
us. So
tea.
yeah, what's
right
next?
here.
You know,
This
give the
is-
details.
This is truly breaking news. So New York's not the last stop, and you know, obviously that's the biggest stop, right? It's very hard to top New York, right? Let that be said. It's very hard to have a discussion of what might be out there beyond that. So
Yeah.
we'll get there when the time comes. But for now, it's a bit of an Artifex tour, and so next stop is today.
Oh.
Today,
Oh.
Vancouver, Canada.
Oh my
Oh,
god.
really?
I didn't know it was today. That's exciting.
Did you guys know this?
I know
Or
it's
is this a
Vancouver.
surprise?
I knew,
Oh.
but
You should have told
I
me.
didn't
I
know.
should have left this morning.
Like,
So it's that balance. Okay. I'll tell. Let's just open, honest, and transparent. My goal for this one was to surprise everybody, and
Well.
Well, it's surprising.
like across the board was to surprise everybody. And I some more intelligent minds in the room than me. Credit to my wife, who's obviously been privy to all of this stuff, as well as some other people near and dear on the team within the Artifex project. We're like, yeah, you might want to say something. You might want to give like Fred and Victor and Beige a heads up, since they're there, and I backed off. So now it's being talked about before it happens. The original vision was total surprise and random, but in the streets of Vancouver there are 20 locations with digital art screens. So they're ground standing screens that, you know, are fairly tall and then flash through different ads. So we decided that specifically the first wave of the project, which is the family, four of the family are right here right now. So it was specifically those 10 to Vancouver, movie style screens rotating on those digital art, you know, call them installations or stands, or I think they call them digital art furniture.
so sick.
That's so
wow.
sick.
And
Exciting.
it's happening today.
So it'll go for a full day. So it'll be kickstarting today in Vancouver, 3 p.m. local time, and then we'll last all the way through the next day, same time.
Wow.
Amazing.
So,
Exciting.
That's amazing. Look forward to it.
yeah, I'm gonna keep refreshing my Twitter feed
Me
again.
too.
Yeah.
God damn it.
Malavida, are you close to Vancouver or where? No, where
No,
are you located?
Alexi and I are in Montreal.
Yeah.
Montreal
Okay.
gang. So
Gotta hit up Montreal next.
Yeah, there's so many. I mean, there's so many possibilities.
know.
There's so many, you know, places and cities. Up London.
We have Havana music saying London, so
Havana.
maybe
London
Europe
would be good.
is next.
Havana. London.
And Roger, like you mentioned briefly, you know, the first part is the family. So what do you mean by that? Maybe you can expand on that a little bit.
So these waves within the project provide a bit of structure, right? A bit of structure, a bit of themes, and it's hard to categorize, right? I don't ever want to put jam someone in a category and say you belong here, right? But it's just trying to bring a bit of a structure. And so this was more of an abstract theme, or like an emotive theme of what is so special about this NFT space. When I sat back and looked at it, when the very first ideas for this project were coming around, it was finding a way to represent that. And I mean, like what better group? Like what better group? And what I sat back in the earliest days and progressing on from there, just marveling at some of the relationships and the collaborations and the positivity and the togetherness and rising up together, in some instances moving to the same cities, and that meant something. That will always mean something to me. Wherever the space goes, whatever the future may bring us, that time period where that was so apparent and so clear, that will never change. And so it was about, let's represent that special vibe, right? And then we'll move into more specific wave themes as the project rolls along.
Yeah.
Nice. And do you have those themes already, or can you share them?
I can only share so it goes from I'll give you a little bit, but you can anticipate time-based themes. So time-based in the sense of pioneers, and then time-based in the sense of younger artists in the future, right? So playing with time, and then they'll be playing with call it like a stylistic approach or type of art, but we're talking about precision arts, the clean loops, the architectural lines. We're talking about the entertainment arts, right? Going on down from illustration to movies to gaming. That's enough for now.
Okay, I think we've hinted enough. I mean, you already dropped the Vancouver bomb, so
Yeah.
I guess one like last question for all of you. You mentioned just now, Roger, like you thought about what makes the NFT community special, and like what pops out when you think about like this wave, like this digital revolution, the NFT ecosystem. Let's call it whatever we want. And yeah, a quick round for all of you, like what makes it special? Malavida, I'll start with you.
Like in general, or for me? Yeah.
Well, for you in general, within the community, yeah.
I feel like from a human point of view, I feel like it's beneficial for everyone because I feel like everyone's feeling less lonely in a way, because of the community, because of the fact that digital artists have been like closing up for years and years and years on social medias. Everyone has been trying to build that image for themselves, which is totally normal. And I feel like, yeah, we've just been like excluding ourselves and just closing up on ourselves. And the beneficial aspects I see with the community and everything that the NFT space has allowed is the fact that we're facilitating communications, we're facilitating collaborations, connections, and overall just educating like each other on, topics, of course, such as like the technology, but also on other topics as well. And I feel like we learn a lot because that was what was needed, like during the pandemic, of course, but I feel like it's going to last even through the years that are going to come after that, because I feel like everyone is really grateful for having that space and feeling safe and united, even when things are going not that great. And, like there's always something to rely on. And obviously, everyone is really happy to just be focusing on themselves and their work, and just putting their best into what they always wanted to do, but never perhaps had the time or the opportunity to do so. Well, that's a bit of a dream right here, at least for me and for a lot of people I know. It's a bit of a dream.
It is, for sure.
It is, for sure.
Nick,
Sure.
do you wanna
Yeah.
have your take?
Yeah, I just feel like it's been kind of like this creative opportunity. Like Malavida says, we were kind of working like maybe in a bit of a vacuum pre-NFT, building up our imagery and getting those likes on social media for the potential of gaining clients out of that, which is great in itself, but can be very creatively like stunting and draining. So this is kind of like this great creative opportunity to kind of take your art on an individual level basis to another level, a different realm, and then in the process connecting with other artists. And I feel like this is a year of like collaboration. Like I was able to collaborate with Dave Krugman, and just being part of this with Artifex is amazing because it feels larger than life, and it feels great to be a piece of that big pie. So it's just, I think this is truly a year of community and collaboration and pushing each and everyone's creative endeavors. So
Yeah,
totally.
those collabs with Dave are so amazing, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's sick.
Yeah, they're fun. We're able to kind of pull stuff out of each other that we weren't really able to on like an individual basis. So being able to work with someone, you're kind of able to kind of ping pong ideas and pull certain things you didn't know you had inside you and potential inside you, and pull it out and put it on like a digital canvas. So I think that's the beauty of collaborations for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's something that I hear so much when I speak to artists is like how much, well, first of all, like how this space really enables collaboration and just kind of, you're speaking to people from all over the world, which you wouldn't necessarily be able to do in any other medium. And here you can, collaborate with somebody at the other side of the world and really find like things that maybe you didn't even know each of you had, and like bring them out between you, whether it's 2, 3, 4, 5 people. Like we've seen collaborations of more than 10 artists. Like that's simply like amazing. It just blows my mind. Like it's insane. So yeah. Alexi.
Yeah, it's tough to like pinpoint exactly one thing that I like the most about this space, but if I can like put aside like all them, like the money stuff, the fame stuff, all this is not really like important to me. Like what brings me the most joy is being able to see like my friends being so excited about the projects they are able to work on now, like just seeing the process and people explaining their ideas, because before that it was mostly like just client work, and sometimes like for me my personal work has always been like just for Instagram pretty much and for myself, but now I can have projects with bigger purposes, where I can think more in depth about what I want to say, and it's the same for everyone else. So being able to see that in others is like super exciting, and like I'm happy for my friends to be able to do that now. So that's one of the most wonderful things that to me are happening in this space right now.
I agree.
Agree with that. Yeah, like if I have to answer next, I'm just gonna agree with all of them. And, of course, and I'll just add. I think what I like a lot as well about what the NFT sort of like boom brought the last months and stuff is, for a moment, I hope we can, and this is what I think Roger wants to cherish about the project, with the Artifex project, and bring forward, is that for a moment in time, somewhere between like November and January, to make it like a very short slice of time, but somewhere in there was this phase of like novelty, like discovery, technology, putting on the table new possibilities for everyone. So it's like putting a bunch of adults in a room in like a gym hall, and then you put boxes of Legos in the middle and you say have fun, and everyone's like, wait, what? I'm a banker, and the other one will say I'm a farm, and no one cares. After 5 minutes, no one cares. Everyone's playing with Legos. They're all the same. They're all having fun. Everyone's doing his own thing. No one's trying to destroy the other guy's castle. Everyone's just like, oh wow, you can use red and do that. Oh fuck, I'll try with blue, and then they do. And it was, for a moment, it was just this vortex of like empowerment and pushing everyone up it's super inspirational, super motivational. And obviously now that the scene is getting bigger, this sort of like, I don't know how to put it in words. It's like this sort of like dreamscape moment for a minute where everything was so, wow, what's going on here, you know? We're trying to preserve some of this and carry it through before it gets sort of like diluted. Because obviously when there's millions of people in a space, it's a lot harder to keep some of that familiarity, which is why I'm really stoked, and it really touches my heart to be in the family wave, because it's such a personal and such a human thing, you know, and to have that carried forward in history and in whatever it is, it's just so over whatever I can perceive. So I think like this NFT crypto art moment of like convergence, and the same with like DeFi and all these crypto coins. Like I remember at the beginning, Aeforia reaching out, and it was like, what is this coin? What do I do with this coin? Should I buy this coin? Like it was such a mix of like just discovering new things where no one understood anything, and then people were trying to like chime in and say their opinion, and then people would like come up with new ideas. It was so much fun, and it's still like that. It's still like that. Obviously, a little bit is faded of that because we're all living through the growth, but it can be preserved. And I hope at least between like friends and people that really care about the space, this bubbly of like waking up and holy shit, what's going on in the world today? You refresh Twitter and there could be a news that like everything, you know, and it's so crazy. There's no security at all, but at the same time, there's so much innovation and new things every day. You turn around and your friend has created this new concept that you didn't even know was possible, and you're like, wait, what? You can do this? It's so much fun, you know. I think this is something that it's very unique what we all experienced. We went through this moment of like, holy shit, this is insane, you know. And I think for a lot of us it's rare, you know. It's quite rare to have these moments where you actually feel, I want to do this. This is insane. I'm actually eager to do it. I'm not gonna go to sleep because this is so cool. Like this is crazy, you know. And this is what if we can preserve some of this with the Artifex project and show it to people, like make it feel like there actually was a moment where people were interested in the growth of themselves, the space, the art, the technology, rather than the financials. Of course, the financials are where boosts everything, because if you put a lot of money, people are like, oh shit, let's do it, you know. If everything for free is a bit different, which is where the pioneer wave is like, those are the crazy people. Those are the crazy ones. Those are the ones that experience what I personally experienced for like a few months, for years, and there was not even money there. Like they just did it out of passion, which is insane. You know, it's like, holy fuck, you guys just hammered the iron for 3 years without seeing any result, and then all of a sudden, boom. It takes a lot of courage, but yeah, it's such exciting space, and I hope we can save some of this energy, some of this positivity, and some of this growth because of the means, not the financials, as Alexei was saying before as well. I think it will be so important and valuable. Like if we can actually transfer this feeling of there's a lot of money in NFT, this is changing. The money always changes, you know. It's novelty, a lot of money, but then the money goes somewhere else and shifts and that. But the artists that are pushing boundaries and doing crazy stuff, they're still there. Like artists that join, like thank you, like painters that have been painting for their whole life, all of a sudden have a digital possibility, jumped on, found a way to be innovative, found a way to challenge themselves, create new art, create a new form of their own skill set. Like they have to learn something completely new. That means staying awake all night, trying to explore. It's such an exciting and vibrant headspace to be in for an artist, because you get that, I want to create stuff. I want to do something cool. I really want to attract someone. And you don't have a client telling you, do this, do that, or the gallery team is this. You have to fit between these lines and that. You have these formats to do. There's no rules. You could do whatever you want, you know? So people had to explore exactly actually where they wanted to take themselves. So I'm sure Aeforia, Malavida, Xsullo as well, I know the others, probably Roger as well in a way, I had to sort of like stop for a minute and look at their work and actually say, okay, I'm gonna do 3 pieces, but I'm not doing it to get a bunch of likes on Instagram. I'm doing it to tell something, to show something. So you have to think in a different way. You have to create. You have to actually, what do I want to do? Like I can do whatever. I could do a pill with skulls, or I could do a sword. Like you can choose whatever. So you have to actually stand up at choices and explore actually what you want to do. So in a way, a lot of us grew a lot, and that's really exciting.
Yeah, I think we're all here to tell a story, our own stories. So it's always really exciting to see what kind of aspects of us creatively can be revealed through those stories. And I think the platform is so opening and warm and welcoming to be able to tell those stories that I think it's kind of a creative, exciting time to be in. So yeah.
Totally. I completely agree with everything that has been said. And, you know, also there's like one thing that you mentioned, Stefan, that it's like, you know, a lot of, if you think, I mean, from my experience, like, you know, the outside world is like, are you crazy? Like, what are you doing? Like, this is not real, you know, like, what are NFTs? Like, what are you, like, what is it? You know, so to find like a community and people that, you know, share this excitement, like share the fact that you're, you know, in this together, you really build like something, you know, special, like a real revolution in a way. And, you know, as you rightly said, it comes from a long time. Like it hasn't started today. It hasn't started last year. It started, you know, 2013. Like there's a long history that comes before us. But it's kind of like a history and like a new wave. So it's really, you know, interesting to see this being documented as well. So yeah, absolutely. Roger, I'll leave it to you to, I guess, close us off and have you know, have some closing remarks, I guess.
Let's real quick. I want to stick with the family and the collaborative spirit and give a shout out, because I'm sitting here on behalf of the Artifex project. Well, we're all sitting here on behalf of the Artifex project, but the internal team and the builders within the team, and it's just going on down the line. And Nick, Xsullo, you mentioned Dave Krugman. Dave Krugman's part of Made by Animus. They've played a huge role. I mean, New York City never would have gone off without them. Vancouver and on down the line. Maria over there just doing amazing, amazing things. The internal team from Allison to Laith to developers to John to Jay to full studio on the design and UX side, Studio 1, 2, 3. I mean, like I could keep going, and I'm going to miss people no matter how hard I try. But the point is that everything, you know, everything takes a village in some way, shape, or form, whether it's people who influence or whether it's people who are actively collaborating to do the thing. And so I would be remiss to not mention that. And just that excitement that we had these conversations, I don't even know, a couple months ago. I mean, and then it just evolved from there. It was, you know, bringing each person the idea and that sensitive, formative stage, you know, bringing it forth respectfully and wondering, is this a question that you feel, put yourself in a piece of art? How do you feel about that? And just navigating those early stage conversations and building up that momentum together of, okay, there's something here. There's something here. There's something here. There is a story. Like you said, Nick, there's a story to be told, right? There's a big story to be told. You know, that was the Lego moment, right, Stefan? That was the Lego moment of the project, right? All the Legos were on the floor of the project. And then it was like starting to build the tower to now that we've walked it forward here where, you know, Monday the 17th, we release a website and we'll release a full schedule, right? A schedule from there for the family wave. That's exciting stuff. I mean, we're sitting in some ways on the precipice, and then I'm looking back and I'm seeing all of the road before us. So again, the fact that it's becoming tangible and real and concrete after some of the surprises and delights and some of the, you know, these conversations, it's fun. And to be here, Vertical, you know, thank you so much for bringing us all together here to talk about it.
100%.
Yeah,
it was great to chat, guys. It was so fun.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. And looking forward to seeing, you know, all of the tweets and the takeover of Vancouver. So I'll be refreshing my feed as well.
Yeah, same here.
Thanks,
Same.
guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thanks,
much
Take
again.
care.
Have a
Bye.
great day.